Hi guys. Okay, so I'm back. Wigs still do my head in a bit, but I'm getting used to it. If you start seeing my net, do tell me, because I'm, like I said, not exactly an expert with wigs. I'm barely an expert with hair, and we all know how that turned out with me. Okay, so my tripod's acting up, so I might not be in the exact position I was before. Anyway, this is the second half of the autograph section of my attempted vlog. Okay, so last one I talked about was Chris and Ksenia. Getting Chris to sign an autograph that I got Ksenia to sign, who signed it in, I think it was Latvian, it could be Russian because her grandmother was Russian. And we were talking languages. The next on my list is my first ever UK convention got autograph. I had been to meets before, like the two tribe meets, and I'd met Juliet Landau at Film Planet back when they did signings in Leeds. This was at Manchester back when they had Kleptomania, back when Central was called GMAX. I was bricking it. My first convention, I was attempting to cosplay like I had in Dragon Con, but for some reason I didn't feel as confident as I had at Dragon Con, because back then I was doing it because I didn't have the option of anything else. Here I had an option, I had time to organise, but I stuck with my Starfleet uniform, despite the fact I've had it since I was 15, and although people are nice, you can see ripples when I wear it. I'd had so many dreams of if I ever got to meet Brent Spiner. He was like, I wouldn't call him a hero, but a mentor. If Tommy from Power Rangers was a hero, then Data was my mentor. He helped me survive a lot in high school. When emotion caused trouble, I just thought, WWDD, what would Data do? Most of the time it was hold it in, flat face, head tilt, and just agree with anything. Although Data didn't always agree with anything, he told you when you were talking bollocks in a very logical and mathematical way of talking. But in first high school, that wouldn't have worked. So I didn't really look around the convention. I just went straight to the autographs because it was in Manchester and I didn't know how long I had. There were 4 people there that day I was interested in, but one, Brent, had my full focus. I was in the queue and I was jittery, and you guys have probably seen me when I'm unsure. I'm like side to side, like looks like I'm dancing when I'm not. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't realise how old Brent Spiner was when he was Data. I just thought he was a young man. The 2 girls in front of me were talking, and I could just see this puff of white grey hair. I thought it was somebody with them, like their mother or something. Then the 2 girls stepped to the side, and there's this man sat in front of me. It's Data, but he's turned into Einstein. That's not an insult, that's just the only way I can describe the haircut. And it was like, this proves how long it's been since Next Gen. For me. We're talking 2006 or something. I was so new, it was, looking back now, it's scary. I didn't say anything to him because I was too scared to put my foot in it. Which I did later with somebody else, but I just went, Data was my hero, he helped me survive high school. And Brent just nodded politely because I think he'd heard it about 1,000 times. I have to say, at the time, I think actually to this day, I have to double check how many Star Trek actors I've actually met. But at the time, and for a long time after, Brent was the nicest Star Trek actor I had ever met. He wasn't egotistical, he wasn't a bitch. He was just, hi, how are you? Very American, very happy to be among fans. He wasn't, I think privileged is the word I'm looking for. Next on my list, the complete opposite. Okay, if Manchester's my first UK con, Dragon Con would be my first con altogether. 2005, I was still on the tribe boards back then. They still technically existed in the way they did back then. Not in the... If you're part of the official, the old tribe group, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway. I went to America because tribe actors kept going to this convention in America, and I met with a bunch of other tribe fans, mainly other Americans, but there was two Brits. And we were waiting in the airport, and it turned out the only tribe actor able to attend during Con 2005 was ironically from England, like me. He'd just come back from England. I was on a Delta flight, he was on a British Airways flight. We pretty much missed each other by an hour. So I'm there going, right, I've come all the way to the States to meet a guy who's from Donington. Now, I didn't realise DragonCon wasn't just tribe. I thought it was meetings of other fans, but the only actors were going to be the tribe actors there. I'd done my research, but I couldn't find anything that made any sense. That's more about me than it is about the DragonCon, because they used to put up all the guests. I just hadn't paid full attention, I don't think. It was still like an, oh my god, I'm going to meet tribe actors thing back then. Anyway. First night there, I met Paul McGillen and Connor Trinner. Connor was already 3 sheets to the wind when I met him. He just gave me a goofy smile and hugged me and carried on walking. I hadn't actually gone near him. I was literally sat at the bar. And I had no Stargate stuff on me. But I had my Star Trek uniform on, so I'm guessing he just figured I was an Enterprise fan as well as a Next Gen fan, which... Clara will kill me for this, but I do not like Enterprise. Same as I do not like original series. I'll watch them because they're track, but that's it. Anyway. So I was talking to Paul McGillen. And, well, everyone knows I told you about the, throwing pizza at me, getting so drunk that when I asked him a question for a pair of Americans who dared talk to him, he said, come back to my room later, love him, and you'll find out. Goes without saying that I didn't take him up on the offer. And I've told everyone about when somebody called him British when he's half Scottish. I guess you call him all Scottish because his parents are Scottish, but he grew up in Canada, so. Anyway. Next day, I decided to try and get my bearings on what's going on. This is after the party and getting trapped in the lift with a ring wraith. And I find the autograph queues, and I was looking at this kind of snake of actors from varying universes. Andromeda, Harry Potter, Red Dwarf. There was probably something that I can't even remember. I have a secular memory and a shit memory to start with. So I met Steve Basik, and I apologise again. Everyone knows I'm crap at pronouncing last names. I automatically say as written. It's how my brain works. I met Steve Basik. I met Douglas Arthur, who was Herua in Stargate. I met Paul McGillen again, and he apologised. I was going to meet the Phelps twins, but then while I was watching, they made their excuses and left really quickly. And no, not because of me, before anybody says. I was too far away to actually be the reason. Hi, Hadridge. Hey, Ridge. Holly from Red Dwarf, she literally grabbed me by the wrist and basically said she hadn't heard a British accent in ages. And I'm like, I know for a fact that I'm not the only Brit here. One of the guys on registration asked me where I was from. I thought he meant what country. Turns out he meant which county, which area, because he lived in America for so long he couldn't recognise the accents. And sorry, I was talking to Hattie, and then across from her was a table which had pictures on, but the actress must have gone for a drink or something, or I don't know. I didn't know back then, so I went over to have a look, and there were pictures of varying things, movies and stuff, and then there was a few Star Trek things. I'm like, ooh, okay, who's this? So I looked at this picture, and I can't describe it. It's like the army trucks that have the bare bones, and then you just like throw a green canvas over them. They're seen in a lot of like 90s flashbacks to war-torn countries, like Kosovo and stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea who this is. And then I saw a picture of Deanna Troi in the corner, and I'm like, okay, Marina Sirtis. So I look back at this military picture, and I'm like, and in the corner there's the emblem of SG-1. And I'm like, I don't remember Marina ever being in Stargate. I've seen nearly every episode. I hadn't seen every episode because it was still running back then, but I was like, I've never seen Marina in Stargate. I assumed I would have remembered, but as everyone knows, I seem to have a knack of putting my foot in it. This little harpy comes round my side and just starts on, she was one of the main characters, right? And I'm like, I couldn't say anything because I didn't know who the hell I was arguing with. It's like, she was one of the main characters. It was one of the most popular episodes of that season, and I'm like, okay, just tell me the episode name or what happens, and my mind will click. I will get it. Of course, then my brain goes, oh my holy God, you were actually talking to Marina Sirtis, and you didn't realise it. And I'm like, I don't remember, I can't remember the episode, that's all. I'm not saying you weren't, I said I can remember you in it. At which point, a guy walks past me dressed as, I think it was Colonel O'Neill, he had the SG-1 uniform on. She grabs him and asks him about it, and he goes, oh yeah. Later on I spoke to him, it turns out that he actually had a major crush on Marina Sirtis, so that episode was like bunk material for him. So she was really bitchy, and then she said something about being a Russian scientist, and I'm like, the water creature episode, the one that after the first series, and she's like, oh, you do know it then? And I'm like, I can barely see you in the picture that they picked. If you had a more clear picture, like you and Amanda tapping or something, I would have recognised it, and I apologise if I did not take an apology well. Sign the autograph me. It's a standard next gen profile pic. And just move along. And I'm like, I wasn't devastated because I was already devastated from yeah, I'll tell about Douglas after. I made a bit of a twat of myself, which everyone knows I'm liable of doing. So I was like, okay, maybe this convention is not for me. I'm too prone to put my foot in it. And I met Leva Burton who plays Geordie, and nah, I wouldn't recommend it. But then again, a lot of the people who turn out to be bastards and gits to me are really nice to my friends. A la Mark Sheppard. I do have Mark's autograph, but I'm never showing it. It's not one of my favourites. This kind of leads on. Same convention. There was this guy in this black coat, a weapons belt, and a badge which kept flipping over because his jacket was bigger than he was. But I swore it was the sign of the Psychor. And he had that Psychor way about him where he can just show up at them random times and freak the hell out of you. And it got to the point where at the party that night, I just turned around and went, "Look, mate, what are you meant to be?" And he goes, "Take a wild guess." I'm like, "I'd guess Psychor, but nobody dresses as Babylon 5 anymore." Nobody dresses as Babylon 5 at all where I'm from. And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm Psychor," and tells me about this raffle for Rick Biggs' charity. He played Dr. Franklin in Babylon 5. So I go up to this girl dressed as, ironically, Lita Alexander, and she's telling me about this charity, the raffle, and says it's in his memory, and I'm like, whoa, rewind, back up. At this point, I'm 20, so I've, as far as American geeks are concerned, I should know what's going on. I should be in on everything, but I'm not. I live in the back end of nowhere. When I first got into Babylon 5, I lived in the arse end of the back end of nowhere. Ackworth. For those who don't know. And so she's going through what's happened and explaining about Rick Biggs' death, and I'm like, holy hell. I am severely less geeky than I thought I was. I wasn't used to people even knowing what Babylon 5 was. I'd met one guy my entire life back here in England that knew what Babylon 5 was, and at the time I hadn't spoken to him in a while. So talking to a guy dressed as Psychor and then a girl dressed as Lita Alexander about an actor from Babylon 5 whose character I did like, who died, and then explaining about Jason and how it was my dream to one day meet him, and I'd missed him because he'd been there the year before. Anyway, the raffle was for a charity that had been set up in Rick's memory. And the prize was a DVD of one of the last times Rick and Jason did a workshop together, and a signed picture of Rick and Jason together. And I must have been the most annoying fan ever, because every time I walked past her, I put a quarter in the because it was meant to be a collect the coins sort of deal. I don't know how much I spent on that raffle, and I've never really attempted to add it up. But as you can tell by the fact that it's on my wall, I won. I still one day want to meet Jason, though I highly doubt I will, because I came to cons way too late for half the shows I loved as a kid. Every so often there'll be someone from a retro show, like on Sunday I get to meet one of the first female heroes I ever had, Amy Jo Johnson. They play Kimberly in Power Rangers, or let's see, do you remember Rupa? I prefer her from Hex, but the first time I ever saw her, she was in Famous 5. But I learned a lot of stuff at Dragon Con, which most people there thought I was really like such a newbie for not knowing. And then I didn't meet another. Well, I didn't meet another Babylon 5 fan until I met Ali. I didn't know Erica was a B5 fan at the time when I met her, but I just thought she was dressed as Queen Victoria. Different story. Okay, linking on to Babylon 5. Bruce Boxleitner. I'm just going to write it across the bottom of this video when I put it on YouTube. Is crap at last names. Anyway, Bruce Boxleitner is best known for Tron in the wider world, but to a lot of sci-fi fans, especially in the 90s, he's Captain Sheridan. Commander Sheridan, sorry. And I never thought I'd meet any of the cast. And I went to a Firefly convention. Well, it was Firefly and Battlestar, but it was mainly Firefly because it was called Serenity. And Sean always has the intros to conventions. Hi guys, well, this convention, this was happening, here's the next talk. And he was talking about the 3 best space operas. He said Battlestar, Firefly, and everyone got a cheer obviously because of where we were. And then he said one that nobody's heard of, Babylon 5, and the room went up. I don't know what that means in terms of any chances of ever getting a Babylon 5 con again. Every year I ask, and every year Sean says no, so I don't think he's ever going to do one. Anyway, convention went on, and then on, I think it was Saturday. No, it was Saturday when Sean said. He said that somebody was coming to see him and would be up for doing signings, and he announced it as Bruce Boxleitner, and again the room went nuts. Now my friend Erica she was in London, so she come to meet everyone. Or at least that's what what I got told anyway. It turned out she was crashing. She doesn't do that anymore. Not the meep beep, that's my phone. She doesn't crash anymore. She really comes to conventions anymore, to be honest. Which she needs to start doing again because I really miss hanging out with her and Nikki. And well, anyway, one of our friends, Erica, she hadn't got tickets to the convention, so she couldn't get Bruce's autograph. So she gets one of our friends to do it for her. I'd have done it if she'd have offered, but I was too busy panicking. Oh my god, I'm meeting Commander Sheridan. So we're in the queue, and this girl who's getting a picture signed for Erica, she turns around to me and goes, "And who is he?" At which point, I didn't mean to be evil, but I was actually going, thank the god somebody actually doesn't know, because it makes me not look like a complete newbie for having never met the guy before. Because so many of the Starfleet guys have met Bruce and other B5 actors before because of how Starfleet started. Anyway, so I was explaining Babylon 5 and I was explaining Tron as best I can because I've never seen the movie, and I've never seen the most recent movie because it's not really my deal. Movies in general aren't my deal, unless there's like a really good reason. I prefer TV shows. So I went up to Bruce and I picked a picture of Babylon from Babylon 5, and he's saying, "What's your name?" And on autographs, when I was younger, the first autograph that I used my RL as much as I dislike it. I wasn't fully sure on Midnight back then. It was just a character name that everyone called me by, because if you knew me on the boards, you knew me by the character. Didn't become my nickname for a few years. So I explained Kathy, and then he goes, "Oh, that's a really nice name," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's not. It really, really isn't, mate. I always seem to get told my name's really nice when I don't like it." I didn't literally argue about my name with Bruce Boxleitner. I just said, no, I don't like you very much. And he signed Bruce Boxleitner. He put in quotation marks, Babylon 5, and I'm like, okay, why would you put the show that you're signing a picture for when it's one, it's already on the picture, and two, if the person's picked the picture, they know the show that you're in. Ugh. I went with the flow because it was my second time meeting a Babylon 5 cast member, first time that I will ever cheer about. The other one was dubious, and I'm not going into it. Oh, yeah. Again, I can't read my writing. Next one on my list is Amanda Tapping, which both Amanda Tapping autographs I've got, the one that's on my wall and the one that isn't, I didn't get. I've never met Amanda. I would love to. Sanctuary, Supernatural, Stargate, her brief stint in Killjoys. But I've never met her. I think both were got, no. I'm sure one autograph was got by Rosie and one by Michelle. The one on my wall I think is the one Michelle got me because it's the water damaged one. She had a bag with her that she didn't realise wasn't waterproof, and she didn't have any carriers for the autographs, and a lot of them got edge damaged. Not total damaged, just edge damaged. if you can hear heavy breathing, it's Minnie Mouse. Next one is CM Punk. Now, I'm not entirely sure why I went to this wrestling event, because there was nobody there I knew, friend-wise. And I didn't actually end up getting to meet the man I was there for, which was the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels. Note the link to what I'm into. Which I wasn't into the whole angel thing back then, I just liked his storyline. Fallen Priest sort of deal. And I learned a bit about CM Punk, because he hung out with Raven. And I had to do straight edge, and back then I was doing the whole straight edge track. I'm not exactly a lush now, but I do drink on certain occasions. Never done drugs though, apart from weed, and I hate it. I was like one of the only girls there on her own who hadn't been dragged by a boyfriend or something. And I went up to him and I didn't have a bloody clue what to say. And then I noticed his tattoos. Now, hindsight's a bitch, because thinking about it, I should have realised that he has the same tattoos in previous pictures from before he joined TNA. So I let my mouth run away with me, as I often do. Hey, you CM, can I ask you a question, please? And he's like, alright then. Are you really like, steampunk? Are you really straight edge, or is it just a gimmick like they do in WWE? He just went, these don't wash off, love. But in an American accent. I was a little humiliated when I realised the straight edge tattoos were actually tattoos and they hadn't just like had someone write them on for the gimmick. But it's a story attached to an autograph, and although I have drifted out of watching wrestling shows because Sky Sports cost too much and TNA and now ROH are always like years behind, I try and keep up what's going on. I've got Lisa and I've got Heather to keep me up to date, and then every so often I go with Heather to Preston City Wrestling or something. Okay. Laurie asked me about meeting Danny John Jules because she wants to meet him, and I said it's nothing singular. The reason is because when I met him, I was more interested in settling a score with a guy I don't really like talking about anymore, or remembering he's actually still breathing. I'm not sure how many of my friends have watched the show, but there was a show a few years ago based on a set of books called The Demon Headmaster. In the first series, the final episode, they take part in this game show. And the presenters of this character called Eddie Hare. He's like a cliche, wacky, afro, over-the-top type character. And for years, I swore blind that was Danny John Jules. Although every person I asked said it wasn't. Same with the Labyrinth, with the creatures that play with their heads. I can never remember what they're called. This lad swore blind it wasn't Danny, right? So I said jokingly when we were younger, if we ever met him, I'd ask him. So what do I go and do? I went up to him and got his autograph and he's, hi, how are you? The usual stuff. And I just went, Danny, would you mind settling a bet for me, please? And he says, a bet? About me? I'm like, I'm a geek, it's kind of what we do. Me and my friend used to watch the show called Demon Headmaster, and there was this character. And you could just see the look on his face, because I think he knew what I was going to ask. And I basically went, look mate, did you play Eddie Hare or what? And he's like, how did you know that? I've had that removed from my filmography. I actually think he's put it back on since, but originally it wasn't on. And I'm like, I used to love the Demon Headmaster. I mean, I used to have a headmaster at school who looked like Terrence Hardman while Demon Headmaster was on. And he's like, you win the bet, Dan. I was Eddie Hare. I didn't mean to upset. I don't actually think I did upset him. It was just like, oh my god, somebody actually paid attention. Just Just prove my geek. I prove my geekness. Hell, I'm talking to you now wearing a bloody bright green wig because I don't like normal coloured hair at the moment. I geek, therefore I am. Okay, I really need to, when I write these lists out, I need to be a little more careful with the way I write. Ah! Yes, that one. Anyway. This is ironic because I'm going to this convention again on Sunday. The first autograph I was asked about, don't know why it's ended up last on my list, is Finn Jones and Gethin Anthony. Now, one of my friends asked me who Finn and Gethin are, like what's the picture from? So, I'll start there. Adam, it's from Game of Thrones. Season 2. Beginning half. Before things start going really badly for one of my favourite characters. Actually, for both of them. I swear it went to hell in Season 2 for both my favourite characters. Back when I only had 2. I think it's why I'm in our second Wales. Ali, you know. Not that she's watching, I'm just saying if she does. I'm a big fan of, whatever. I was a big fan of Loras Tyrell, Night of the Flowers. And when I heard he was coming to the convention, despite that we were actually mainly going for Gareth and Blue Gillespie and stuff, I made a point of going to see Finn. I didn't realise Gethin would be with him. I should have paid a little, as you know, you'll notice the lead is I don't pay enough attention, and you get happier surprises that way. Anyway. So, Gethin and Finn are sat together. And I don't usually like stock pictures. I always make a point of trying to find my own. And I found this picture from Season 2 where it was a scene after the scene I wanted. It was, instead of them sitting up talking in bed, Gethin's character was on top of Finn's character, hands braced above his head. Draw from that what you will. And it's before they start any funny business, as my mother would say. And Finn's like, oh, okay, nice picture. And Gethin leans over and goes, wasn't that the scene where I bit your nipple to get you in the mood? And I'm like, really? First time meeting an actor, you've got some interesting information from them, but this is the first time anyone's ever talked about mood setting in a bedroom scene. Finn and Gethin both signed it, and Gethin was talking about, oh yeah, we had to be angry at each other, but what we had to do next, so I thought, alright then. So I just went for it, it's ad-lib. I think I must have still had a bit of a deer in the headlights look in my eyes, because I had a flag with me. I had a flag with me to show Finn, and I was still holding it away from him, and he just held his hand out to look at the flag, and I was still talking to Gethin, and I didn't realise Finn had signed the flag. It was the Greyjoy. No, it was the Tyrrell, the Golden Rose. Now normally my brain would have gone, oh yeah. Also, I'm a Tyrrell fan, and I'm from an area of England where our kind of symbol is a rose, so it's ironic, as is a white rose, but still a rose. And my Pirate Eye is a red rose, but we hadn't gone fully into the whole Pirate Eye thing by then. I'd only just managed to get her to read the first book by then. And I bet most of her family and friends regret it, eh, Heather? That's the last one on my list. The nipple biting autograph. I was trying to think of a few of my own favourites, and last week Anthony Stewart Head got added to World Comic Con, but my luck, he's only going Saturday and we're going Sunday. And everyone's going, but you've already met him. And I'm like, yeah, I met him and I put my fucking foot in it. I've actually met him twice, but the time we actually had a conversation, I stuck my foot in it like I always do. I'd also started watching Dominion, which a lot of my friends will regret me watching, my talk of angels and things. And he asked where we were we're in the UK, what episode we'd just seen. And I was talking and I'm like, it's strange watching you play villains. I mean, I know all actors play villains and heroes in their turn, but I've never seen you play a villain. At which point I wanted to kick myself, because then I realised, actually, yes, I had in the Genetic Opera. And I'm like, oh crap, yeah, I basically start, when I get flustered, some of my friends will know, my usual babble of words gets even quicker. So telling one of your favourite actors that you've never seen him in play a villain, when you have seen him play a villain, my brain kind of short-circuited, and luckily Ali and Heather were there to translate. I had 2 autographs from him, one when he's in Merlin and one when he's in Buffy, but, like an idiot, I laminated the Merlin picture before I met 2 of the knights who are in the same picture. So it's just this big group picture with 1 autograph in the middle. I've sent a few pictures to my friend, to Viliana, to get, one to get autograph. She's taking 2. She's doing what I always do. She's going to ask him to pick one, which should be fun. Those who know why meeting Anthony Stewart Head again is such an important deal. Those who don't ask on here. If you want to know, message me. Because certain information can be damaging to chances of actually meeting him again in certain situations. Yeah, I was thinking that he's a bit Hodge, he's a bit grey, isn't he? Back in Repo we're talking about here. Anyway, so that's an autograph that stuck in my head because of last week when I think I was on try 3 of this stupid video then. But the one I've talked about, the one I picked as my favourite, is actually my I actually decided it might not actually be my favourite anymore, because I was thinking, well, of course, I've decided my favourite autographs are probably my tribe ones still, to this day. At Star City in Birmingham, myself, Amanda, my friend Kane, and I think there was about 600 other fans, probably more. Got to meet Victoria Spence, Caleb Ross, Michael Wesley Smith, and Meryl Cassie. And well, everyone knows the tribe is up here with me, right? If I got like 3 wishes for conventions, I would put the tribe at the top, because I will do anything to meet these actors for what they did for me in high school. I mean, hell, it took me a few years, but thanks to my cousin and my mum, I finally got to go to New Zealand. My pictures didn't turn out quite as good as I hoped, because I was fangirling a bit too much. But I got to Pentone Bay and I got to the Phoenix Mall. I wanted to go to the hotel, but I had been told I wasn't allowed. Then I found out that another fan had been, and it's not a mall anymore. It's not a hotel anymore. It's a research facility. And I couldn't find the train yet to save my afterlife. Anyway. So, my picture with Victoria Spence, my photo shoot, went a bit wrong because it was still one of those old film cameras, and I don't know if it was a Spectric thing, I just had no coordination, but I'm most crap with film cameras. And it turns out I wasn't the only one, because my friend Amanda, literally my head is missing from about here down. I'm sure I posted it recently because I was talking to Matthew and Lisa about it. So I got basically Celine, Jack, Lex, Ebony's autograph. A few years later, they did a wider tour. I think it was 4 locations: one Scotland, one England, Scotland, one Ireland, 2 England, and they came to Bradford, which I don't know if it's my mentality or just small town person mentality, but you don't think somebody from an amazing country like New Zealand, who's in a as far as I'm concerned, back then, a world-renowned show, would come to a piddly little shop in Bradford. That Big W, back when Woolworths had like a big version. And my friend Oscar, Andrew, who'd been with me at the first meet, came with me. And at the first meet, him and Amanda had gone to get something to eat. Me and Kane had been talking with other fans. They came back, and they were talking. Well, I thought they were talking really loud, and I went, "Don't, dude, please, quiet, please. I don't want to be like noticed by the actors for people talking too loud, despite that everyone was talking." So Andrew shouted, top of his voice, "Power and chaos," and everyone looked at him. It was epic. Even the actors just started coming on stage. They were looking to find out where the call had come from. In Bradford, I knew most of the people, most of the actors that were going to be there. I knew Michael was coming in again. I knew Meryl was coming again. I'd heard that Beth was with the man Antonia, and that Dwayne Cameron, who I would still love to meet, had to swap out with one of the newer characters, Matt Robinson. He played Slade, and that Tom Hearn was coming. He played Ram. So we're outside, and I got this really crappy old camera with me. Still film-verse cameras, which is why a lot of the pictures no longer exist, because things have melted and stuff over the years. Anyway, so I've just randomly decided on my face paint. I hadn't actually based it on anything like I had the first time, and I'd sprayed my hair half blue, half red, like Xandra, well, half pink, half red, like Xandra. And we're talking, and I used to have the camera used to have a wrist strap, and I used to hold it by the strap, and I turned to say something to Andrew, and the camera tapped against the wall, the glass, and this dude from inside, I had been setting up, looked at me, right? It was basically, I'm doing something, look, right? Which do you expect when somebody makes a noise on a plexiglass wall? What you don't expect is one of your all-time heroes to be staring you in the face paint, eyes and everything. Zoot. Daniel James was looking me directly in the fucking eye. It's like when I met Alan Hyde. It was terrifying and amazing at the same time. I didn't get a picture of Danny, but I wish I had. But it was like, so we were on the outside, and then we wound in, and I'm like, oh, this is so much better than the previous time because it's smaller, you can see more, and I thought I could get better pictures. I didn't. And I can't remember what I said, but I must have said something about the previous one, because, again, Andy shouts Parent Chaos at the top of his voice. And Parent Chaos himself was there. Danny James. Zoot, who looked directly at him. Now, everyone knows I'm average height. Well, my friend Andy, I guess I'd say 6 foot. I'm crap with heights, as everyone knows. I'm crap with a lot of things. So you've got Danny James and Michael Wesley Smith, who was there the last time, looking at him. And we go up to the queue, and it went Matt Robinson, Tom Hearn, Beth Allen, Tom Hearn, Meryl Cassie, Beth Allen, Antonia Preble, Danny James, Michael Wesley Smith. Right? Now, Matt was new. He plays a character called Slade, and I didn't know what I made of Slade at the time. Because he just seemed like he was trying to replace Bray. Even if he was cool. And the fact that when he opened his mouth he was English kind of threw me for six. And Tom, as a lot of people say about villains, he was really nice. He's a bloody genius. He's a producer, director, and filmmaker back in the States. Brain, I'm thinking of meeting Matt in the US, back in New Zealand now. I even saw a documentary he did when I was over there a few years ago. I wish some of his stuff would come over here, but it's get your hands on. Like a lot of John Cole stuff. Anyway. So, by this time, the fact that I was inches away from Antonia Preble and Danny James had settled in, right? Nobody's heard me hyperventilate before. Not even Andy, and we went to college together. He'd seen me panic. He'd seen me fangirl. When I first found out he was a B5 fan, I was like, I was really slowly hard breathing, but literally I couldn't get my breath. I don't fancy Antonia or anything. She's a goddess, but I didn't even know I was that way inclined back then. I just thought I was gay. So anyway, I'm hyperventilating and trying to talk to Beth Allen because she looked at me and her mirror looked at me and went, Sandra! And I was trying to say that's what I attempted, but I couldn't say a fucking thing. And Beth writes on the autograph, breathe, breathe, right? Andy picks this time to say, all she needs is a paper bag, which you give people when they're hyperventilating. He added, on her head. Now, Andrew is one of the rare people from my area who can get away with stuff like that with me. Most of the people would have been singing soprano, even in front of my heroes. Especially in front of my heroes. So we're face to face with Antonia and Danny, and they sign the autographs, and so does Michael. And Danny says he loved Andrew's Power and Chaos, and Michael remembered him from the previous one. And I love every single autograph, but Breathe, Breathe, it will always be my favourite. I might even tell you guys about the photo shoots on the next section. Anyway, as I said before, if there are any other autographs on my profile, or that you know I've got, or any photo shoots on my profile, or that you know I've got, that you want to hear about, just say, can you talk about this? Comment on the comment on the picture, and I'll see what I can do. But for now, I'm going to stop waffling, and can't take me out. It's still a bit too bright for a black dog. Live long and prosper. I'm going to press the button.